All right, everyone, welcome to the walk-off. It's officially winter break for us. Last week was all the holidays and everything, so we took a little bit of a break. We're back now, uh, and at home. I'm Vincent Pacone, and I'm joined by the always amazing Anthony Walsh, my fantastic co-host. Anthony, now back at home. How we doing?
It's nice to be at home. It's nice not to have to do that commute. I'll say that. I am looking for a little bit more of MLB moves this offseason. It's been a little slow. We have some stuff to talk about for sure, but I'm looking for, especially my Mets, to start putting some pieces of this team together. It's a little frustrating seeing these puzzle pieces not put together.
Well, I think we've definitely got a lot to talk about. We got a little bit move from the Mets. The Red Sox have been making moves, and shockingly, the White Sox are making moves. But with a lot to talk about, it's time to get started. Baltimore, the Orioles made a fun move to try to help their pitching staff. They are acquiring Shane Baz from the Tampa Bay Rays for Slater DeBrune, and catcher Caden Bowden, and right-hander Michael Forrest, and outfielder Austin Overn. So I think this is an interesting deal on both sides. And then later on that day, they make another trade. The Rays, Orioles aren't in this one, but it's a three-team trade all of a sudden. Pirates, Astros, Rays, three-way deal. Pirates get second baseman Brandon Lau, which I think is really interesting, and left-hander Mason Montgomery and Jake Mangum. The Rays get Jacob Melton and Adrian Brito, and the Astros leave with Mike Burrios. So a lot to talk about here, but I feel like the three teams that you got to look at are Rays, Pirates, and Orioles. Let's start with the first one. We'll start small. We'll get bigger. Anthony, Shane Baz to the Orioles, a team that needed pitching. What do you think?
Yeah, and I don't mind the deal. I think it's I guess low risk, high reward sort of scenario. Shane Baz is a guy that came out with a lot of talent, hasn't fully lived up to it. But if these all the teams you mentioned pretty much, except for the Orioles who spent on Pete Alonso, these are all teams that aren't going to spend in free agency much. Might give out one or two contracts that are somewhat substantial for their standards, but otherwise they're going to have to rely on trades, and they're going to have to rely on guys that maybe came out with a lot of potential but haven't lived up to that potential. And I think Shane Baz is the perfect example of that. I mean, Shane Baz was at one point one of the top prospects in baseball. Correct me if I'm wrong. And now he's every couple of years he's had like a 4 ERA, 5 ERA. He's never really lived up to it, but he's still 26 years old. There's all the potential in the world to figure it out. And then that Orioles rotation, he's going to get a chance. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out. But after they signed Pete Alonso, there's a lot of pressure on that team. You don't give out that contract for no reason. And it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. If I was an Orioles fan, I'd want to see them be a little bit more active in the free agent market. I don't think there's any excuse for them not to be spending more money. Like I said many times on the show, I'm never going to cry over a billionaire's checkbook. Like, they have the money to spend. I'd like to see them go after Suarez and maybe even Valdez if I was them, get a perennial ace at the top of their rotation. But I don't know if this move signifies that they're necessarily going to do that. They might kind of put a band-aid on that rotation and say, okay, we'll take the potential in Shane Baz and go from there. I don't know about that. But it's an interesting move. I think that at least it shows that they're trying something, because we talked about, just a few weeks ago on the show, that the Orioles, like, they had so much potential a couple of years ago with all these young guys, and they never really added to the team. Well, they threw that in my face with Alonso, and now they're adding another guy with a lot of potential. So interesting to see what happens.
I like the move. My only concern, though, and there's a couple concerns. Shane Baz gives up a lot of deep balls. I mean, that's his hardest part, is that he gives up the long ball a lot. Last year, in 31 games started, he gave up 26 home runs. Uh, and that's a little concerning to me, to say the least. 4.87 ERA, with, you know, he has that 9.5 strikeouts per nine, which I think they like. He's a power pitcher. And when you get that power pitcher, you're obviously going to give up home runs every once in a while, and that's fine. I'm going to give you one name, Anthony. All right. Because I like this Orioles team. I like them. But just like last year, I think they still don't have pitching. I look at them. You get Shane Baz, congratulations. There is so much problems in this rotation. I mean, no Grayson Rodriguez anymore. And watch because he's going to go ball out for uh the Angels. As long as he's not injured, he's going to go ball out. And it right now, even when healthy, it looks like Shane Baz isn't really balling out, to say the least. One name that's on the trade market that I would like to see them go get. They clearly have the prospects to go do it. And I mean, Anthony, you said it earlier. They're not going to extend all these prospects. These prospects are going to start going over to different MLB teams. That's just how it works. And especially like the Orioles, who have so many insanely talented ones, they need to go call up the Nationals and see what the price is for Mackenzie Gore. He could be really interesting. I want to see Mackenzie Gore on a competitive team. I've been a Mackenzie Gore lover for a long time now. They should go get him. And if not him, maybe go talk to the Pirates, see what the price for Mitch Keller is. They need somebody because Zach Eflin, who they signed to a 1-year deal, and Shane Baz is not going to do it. All right.
Yeah, with Zac Eflin especially, like, the only reason I'm giving Shane Baz the deal a little bit of, like, it's not that I'm in love with the move, but he's young, and he has shown potential. Now, he's had a lot of injury concerns. That's part of the reason. Like, he's only really full season was like last year. Like, he's pitched besides that. He's been in the big leagues for about, what, 4 or 5 years now. But you look at the numbers. I mean, 2024 only pitched 14 games. 23 didn't play at all because of an injury. 22, 6 starts. 21, 3. So last year his 31 starts were really his only was only his full season, and he's been in the league 4 years. So that kind of tells you a lot. Doesn't mean he can't figure it out. He's young. But in terms of Eflin, like I don't. I mean, I get it. It's you could kind of say there's no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. I'd push back on that though because if Zach Eflin's going to be even in the middle of your rotation, which right now he's towards the top of it, which is really scary. That's not a good thing. Zach Eflin at his height was an average pitcher. He's not at his height anymore. He's a 5 ERA type of guy, 4.5 at best. So it kind of he is what he is. But I mean, I like your ideas there. I know Mackenzie Gore has been a guy that's been on the market. The Nationals have been, at least through the reporters saying that they're willing to deal with him for the right deal. But I don't know if the Orioles are necessarily going to be willing to give away their prospects for a guy like that. I mean, Mackenzie Gore he's shown more than Shane Baz, sure, but he's never fully lived up to his potential either. Like, he was a guy that was a top prospect in baseball. He's supposed to be an ace in a rotation. He's been a very solid pitcher, don't get me wrong, but he's never been an ace. But I do agree that they have to do something. Like, you can't sign Alonso to that big of a contract at 31 years old and then just do nothing. Like, that would be a pretty dumb move. That would be a move that would just tell me that, okay, I want season ticket holders to buy more tickets, and I really don't care if we win or not. And that would be a shame because they have a talented team. And I think that American League East, you can win in that American League East if you build together the right team. The Yankees haven't done anything this offseason. The Blue Jays are coming off of a great season, sure, but there's no guarantee they're going to replicate that. The Tampa Bay Rays are a mess. So, like, there's room in that division to do well if you build a team correctly. And I think they have to start with the rotation, and then after that, they have to look at their bullpen. I think their lineup's actually pretty solid. They have, especially if some of the young guys really start to improve more and more, which I think they will. I think the lineup isn't really a problem. Not to say you can't add a hitter or two, but the pitching, especially the starting pitching and the bullpen, is really what you got to work on.
I think that's perfectly said. Now, Anthony, I want to go look on the other side now because the Rays in one day they give away Brandon Lau and they give away Shane Baz. They got a haul. They got a haul of prospects. And this is like, if there's a team that's not going to spend and they're going to compete, it's the Brewers and it's the Rays. And the Rays do it probably the most consistently. Slater DeBrun.
You know better than me. I don't know.
I could not tell you. But we probably will know him soon. Orioles number 6 prospect. Caden Bonin, Orioles number 10. Michael Forrest, Orioles number 11. Then Austin Overin, Orioles number 30. I mean, is that a lot? Are they giving away too much?
I mean, it might be, but you have to give to get, though. Like, there's a reason that so little trades happen unless it's like a really big blockbuster trade, is because it's very difficult to get a player for almost nothing. Now, my Mets gave away a player for almost nothing. That's a whole nother discussion, and that was a totally different scenario. But especially in today's baseball, it's very difficult to fleece a team. And we saw this in this trade. I mean, none of these names are necessarily big names, yet they're giving away what was it like three top 30 prospects in their organization. Um, it is what it is. It goes to show you that like for everybody that wants Tatis to be moved, for everybody who wants these big names to be moved, like imagine what other teams are going to have to give up for these huge stars if we're giving away this for a player that hasn't fully lived up to his potential. So it's interesting. I think that for the Rays, it's smart for them, but like, am I really going to wave the pom poms when they're not going to sign anybody and not going to extend anybody? Like, let's say these kids work out, like every one of them works out, which is a reach, but let's just say they do. Like, they'll come up, they'll play for the Rays for a few years, and they'll be gone. There's no chance they're going to extend them, unless maybe by the time they come up, there's a salary cap, and we're dealing with a whole different scenario. That's a different story. But the way that baseball is right now, the Tampa Bay Rays stand almost no chance to retain anybody. Like every major star they've had in their organization has gone elsewhere. So we'll see. I think it's a sad scenario for any Rays fans out there. They still haven't even gotten back into their own home stadium. They'll be back soon, but they can't retain anybody. They're, to me, the perfect example of a team that is exactly what's wrong with baseball. Like again, I mentioned the AL East. Like the AL East, you can win in that division. It's not some great division. It played well last season with the Blue Jays and Yankees and everything, but the Yankees haven't done anything to improve. There's room there, but you're fighting David versus Goliath. If you're not spending any money, the Yankees will eventually spend some money, and we've seen the Blue Jays spend a ton of money. So if you're not spending, it's going to be hard. I love getting prospects. I'm a big prospect guy. The Mets have really improved their organization prospect wise, and I'm happy about that. Hopefully, the Tampa Bay Rays could do the same thing. But if I'm a fan, like, yeah, I have prospects. They'll be here for 3 years and then they'll be gone. Like, that's not that exciting.
To me, it's not exciting either. All right, Anthony. Let's look at one other team before we start getting into Murakami for the White
Okay.
Sox, because that's the guy that I want to talk about. Uh, Brandon Lau to the Pirates. Not only Brandon Lau, but a couple days later, a little, Christmas Eve present for Pirates fans. They signed first baseman Ryan O'Hearn to a 2-year, $29 million deal, which I think is the first multi-year deal for the Pirates since 2017's Ivan Nova.
Oh,
It's a
that's a
little
name,
sad for
Ivan
you.
Nova.
That's Ivan Nova. My goodness. That's I'm pretty sure it's 2017. I know it's Ivan Nova. I know it's a while ago, and it is insane that it's been this long. Nice to see the Pirates getting in here a little bit because they trade for Brandon Lau, who's a really good power hitting second baseman. You trade for Ryan O'Hearn, or you sign Ryan O'Hearn, who has shown that he's a proven bat in the league. Now what on his fourth team? Started with the Royals, went over to
Yeah.
the Royals, Orioles, Padres, Pirates. Maybe Paul Skeens is finally giving this team a reason to believe. Because at the end of the season, reporters asked him, what do you think of this season? He goes, if we don't go out there and make some moves during the offseason, this season was for absolutely nothing.
I don't know if these were the moves he's necessarily talking about. I mean, these are two solid players. I don't know if it's going to push Paul Skeens to saying, okay, I'm a Pirate for life now. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what my instinct tells me. But yeah, for Brandon Lau, I mean, he's a good player. He's a guy that's just not a flashy name. You can make an argument that his prime is behind him, although he's coming off of the best year of his career, I would say. His second All-Star year in his career, 31 homers, 83 RBIs on a Tampa Bay Rays team that left a lot to be desired. And he's not old by any means. He's in his early 30s. I don't know if he is going to be what he was, in his prime, 25, 26, 27. We'll see. But I guess for the Pirates, that's less important. It's more important to just finally field a team that's competitive. Like, I'm not going to talk in terms of are these moves going to move them to even a playoff appearance. I'm going to talk in terms of will the Pirates be relevant and a somewhat enjoyable watch? Because I think that's the next move they have to make. They were pathetic last season. If Paul Skeens wasn't on the mound, there was literally no reason to watch them. Are these moves going to be something that makes them slightly less pathetic and makes them a solid team to watch? Sure, maybe. The Ryan O'Hearn thing was interesting because I'll take this from a selfish Mets fan standpoint. I don't understand why the Mets didn't make this deal. It was a very cheap deal. Even if you believe in Jorge Polanco at first base, Ryan O'Hearn's a proven first baseman. He's a solid first baseman. It was a cheap deal. we could have outspent the Pirates. I'm pretty confident. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. With those new Steve Cohen spending, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't understand this for the Mets. But in terms of the Pirates, solid move. I mean, Ryan O'Hearn is the best first baseman they've had in a long time. I mean, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but he's a solid, proven first baseman, underrated player in my book, and improves their team. So yeah, I look at both of these moves if I'm a Pirates fan, and I'm kind of excited, not because they're going to go to the playoffs or anything, but because I could maybe see some actual competitive baseball and hopefully some building blocks. I mean, you got to have a winning mentality before you actually win. You got to have some competitiveness before you're actually great. Like that's kind of the thing I say with my Jets. Like the Jets have to at least have a 5-win season before they're going to have a 10-win season. They could barely get to the 5-win season. That's the problem. And I think the Pirates are kind of in that same situation. Like they got to get to a 75-win season before they get to an 85-win season. And hopefully this is a move in that right direction.
The Jets reference is always.
I had to get them off my chest. Oh God.
I can only imagine. That was rough. I watched the Patriots game last time. I saw a little divert, but I saw. Let me see if I can find it. I saw something that said, "Would this QB win MVP?" And he's like 13-3 with 0 interceptions and all this. And then at the end it says, "This is just every starting QB against the New York Jets this year."
You see, this is why I'm glad I have this show because I need a solid hour of my week where I don't think about the New York Jets, and
Here it is,
that helps
ready?
me.
Would this player win MVP? 13-3, 7 yards per average, 64.5 completion percentage, 32 touchdowns, another 2 rushing, uh, and 0 interceptions. That's just every QB against the New York Jets. I knew I had
This
that one.
this is the Jets are kind of like the Pirates. Like they're this team that hasn't competed in years. I mean, the Jets more pathetic, but still, they haven't competed in years. They need to learn how to be just somewhat competent before they really win. And I think the Pirates are in that same situation. I think they have two professionals in the building now who are solid baseball players who have been in the league a while that know how to win. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, selfishly, I wanted Ryan O'Hearn. It is what it is. I don't know what to think about Jorge Polanco at first base. I could go on a whole rant about that, but it's a solid move, and at least they're willing to spend some money.
Now, let's see. Anthony, my question to you is, Jared Jones is injured until the 21st of May. You got Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller at the top of your rotation. Bubba Chandler's coming up. Hopefully he's good. I mean, it seems like these guys can be pretty good. Brandon Lau's probably going to be your second baseman. You put O'Hearn at the DH spot. O'Neal Cruz still in center field. I mean, does this team look like, let's take 75 out of the question. Does it look like a 70-win team?
I don't see why not. I mean, I guess I could see why not. If just a couple of those guys get hurt, then they're totally, they're totally screwed. But
Yeah.
like, I don't see why they should be a team again that's just totally pathetic. Like, they have the talent there, especially just having Paul Skeens on your team alone should be almost a guaranteed win every fifth day. Now, we saw that wasn't the case necessarily because they couldn't score any runs for him. They gave him the Jacob deGrom treatment with the Mets. But like, there's enough talent on that team to just be somewhat competitive. And I like 75 wins might be pushing it, but I don't think 70 is. And even like if these guys excel, maybe 75 isn't pushing it. Like the talent in Major League Baseball, there are teams that are horrible that you could beat. And right now the Pirates are one of those teams, unfortunately. But you could quickly be like we've seen teams turn it around fairly quickly. Like look at the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays were never thought to be, and they weren't as bad as the Pirates, so maybe this isn't the greatest example, but they were never thought as a team that was going to compete with the Yankees. Even the Red Sox and the Orioles were all teams that did better than them as recently as 3-4 years ago. They were always a team that maybe just got to the wild card, got knocked out, even missed the wild card. They had some 75, 80-win seasons there where they were just pretty much irrelevant. They turned it around. They turned it around because they spent. They turned it around because they had smart moves in their front office. And again, I'm not overreacting to either one of these moves. I don't think either one of these moves are going to be part of some championship rebuild. But it could be the start of a sign where they say, okay, we're not the pathetic Pirates anymore. And I hope for their sake it is. And really what matters though is like we could make, these moves sound so great. What really would matter is that they retain Paul Skeens and they're not going to do that. So we're going to be sitting here, whenever he signs somewhere else or gets traded somewhere else, whatever they do, we're going to be complaining about the Pirates saying, well, you should sign them if you have this generational pitcher and they're not going to do it. So like, honestly, what is it going to lead to? Probably not much. However, if you're a Pirates fan, you got to hope at least is something. And if you're a Pirates fan, the biggest thing I'd be looking at, extend Paul Skeens. It's not going to happen. But like, if you don't extend that guy, like, how could you sell me that you're trying to win? This guy's the best pitcher in baseball. He's 23 years old. Like, what more do you want? There's no prospect that's going to replace him. So we'll see. But I have zero confidence that he's going to extend there. Unfortunately,
Okay.
sorry, Pirates fans.
All right. All right. Pirates fans are so disappointed in you, Anthony. But I think they'll survive for the dozens of them out there. Okay. Let's talk about I don't think the biggest move by far, and I think it's another move that's gonna look like the Ryan O'Hearn deal in a couple
Mhm.
like maybe a year or two. Uh Japanese slugger, which was the biggest one on the market, right? There's nobody else.
Yeah, pretty much. Murakami's, I mean, the biggest name for a slugger, yeah.
Yeah. Murakami is gonna be joining the Chicago White Sox. He's the home run record setter for the Nippon Professional Baseball League, and he's going there on a 2-year, $34 million deal. So you really do get him almost at that Ryan O'Hearn price, which I think is great. Um, Murakami, I love that he signed with the White Sox for the reason that I'm pretty sure MLB or somebody put out like a um oh, this is where he could be going. Like, here's his top 10 landing spots. And the White Sox were nowhere close for good reason. I don't know the last time the White Sox were legitimately in a top 10 landing spot for anybody. Who cares? He's going to the White Sox. Uh, Let me read some of his stats to you, Anthony, because I got them up.
Sure.
All right. Now, he's 25. He'll be 26 by the time he starts. Traded last year 24 home runs last year. The year before, 33. The year before that, 31. The year before that, 56.
Jeez.
56. And then 39, 28, 36. He's got pop. He's got a really good slugging percentage. Around the 550 area.
Obviously, he's got pop. That's
You know?
that's like that's the first thing you notice when you're looking at this guy. The second thing I notice is that the fact that the White Sox got him tells me that there wasn't much bidding for him. I'm just being honest. Like if
No,
there
I,
was a
I
lot
think
of,
that's exactly where you look at.
yeah, and like no offense to him, he could be a great player for all we know, and all Major League Baseball could be wrong. We've seen that before, but I don't think this is a case of like the White Sox all of a sudden decided to spend and like outbid the Dodgers or something. Like that's never going to happen. But I mean, we've seen it's very difficult. Like you don't know what you're going to get. It's a big transition for a player from Japan to play in Major League Baseball. There's so many different things. I mean, the ball's different. Obviously, with the country they're playing and they're living in is different. That's a huge shock for them. And it's imagine if it was the other way around and you were going to Japan and playing baseball, it would be a struggle at first for anybody. So you don't know what's going to necessarily happen at first. Especially like my main concern would be like he's playing on a team that's really bad and he's going to go to the White Sox and like sure if he plays well he'll be a star but like he's not going to be the most looked at guy in baseball. The team's not going to like there's going to be a lot of games where nobody's there. It's going to be kind of a shock to him, I think. Obviously he knows the situation he's going into, but when you're actually there and sitting there and like geez, like there's 2,000 guys in the stadium right now, like oh my god, like that this is pretty bad. Like I think he's going to eventually be like this is a team that I don't want to be on long term. So what is he going to treat it like? He's probably going to treat it like this is my chance to showcase my talent for the other teams in baseball because I seriously doubt, unless he's horrible and he stays on the team for no reason, they just sign him. I seriously doubt he's going to be a White Sox for life. And he's a young guy. He's going to be 26, like you said, to start the season. So I'm interested to see how it works. I mean, there's kind of a shortage of great third basemen in baseball. You can name a few, but there's not a ton of great third basemen in baseball. And he has an opportunity here to really make himself some money after these couple of years are up. I mean, he still won't be 30 by the time this contract's over. He has a chance to make some money. So we'll see how it works out. I mean, I would give him a year that's sort of a mulligan. He's on a bad team. He might not get pitched to. If he starts off hot, they're gonna walk. They're gonna walk him. So we'll see how that works. But there's a lot of potential here, and I'm kind of surprised there wasn't at least some sort of bidding war for him. Like the White Sox thing tells me that was pretty much his only offer, which surprises me. Like why didn't any other team even give an offer? He has talent. I'm not saying give him some great huge offer. Maybe he'll fade out and won't be a good player. But the guy almost hit 60 home runs in professional baseball. Japanese baseball is professional baseball. It's not Major League Baseball, but it's still There's a lot of talented players there, and to not give the guy an offer, I don't know. To me, it just strikes me as odd.
Okay, so I was really trying to impress you, and I think I got it. Okay, so Murakami played for the Wakalut Swallows, and they were 11 games under 500 last year. So, you know, possibly not. Oh no, wait, I apologize. 15 games under 500.
Really? Okay.
Possibly not, the losing potential that the White Sox have, but I mean, maybe he won't be too shocked. I liked his conference, what he brought out, like White Sox.
Hmm.
Like I
That's
love the
cool.
White Sox, and he just took him out. Became one of my favorite players easily that way. I want to see him succeed, but a big thing that I've heard about him is that he has trouble hitting the fastball, which doesn't get any easier when you go to like Major League Baseball instead of like Japanese League Baseball or anywhere overseas. I think I was listening to Talkin' Baseball, their podcast, and I heard that average fastball in Japan is 92 miles per hour, and the average fastball in America is 94, which doesn't sound like a lot, but then you got guys like Paul Skeens that throw it 100 and Jacob Mrozarowski. So it makes you kind of think. I think he'll be fine. I think he's got to really settle in. I don't think he's going to be as good as the player he was in Japan. I think he's more of like he's surfing around that 30 mark and trying to get there. But I like the move for the White Sox. I mean, it gives fans a reason to go to games. Why not? Go for it, try it, see how it works. I think we can all say confidently you're not getting another Shohei. I would really want to know his player comparison. Like, who are they comparing him to? Does he look like a Josh Donaldson or does he look like I don't know, like a Chase Headley? Like, where does he land?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's hard to say because, like, if you're going to compare him based off of his Japanese numbers, obviously you compare him to like a baseball legend, and like you're not going to do that for a guy that hasn't played an inning of Major League Baseball.
Mm.
But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I think it's going to be kind of a rough move for him just because if he does hit, like I said, to start out, he's not going to get pitched to. Like there's nobody really in that White Sox lineup. Like Luis Robert at one point was a good hitter. He struggled recently. There's really nobody else in that White Sox lineup that's even a threat offensively. So it's a rough situation for him to go into. I'm sure even on his team that didn't play well last year, I'm sure there was hitters that the other teams somewhat feared. The White Sox, there's nobody there. Like we were talking about the Pirates, the White Sox make the Pirates look like a generational talent, and the White Pirates are horrible. So it's tough. I think that put it this way: if you still see him on the White Sox like 4 or 5 years from now, chances are his career hasn't worked out very well. If you see him on another team and he's a starter somewhere else, he probably at least was half of what he like. If he's half of what he was in Japan, if he's 25 home runs, if he's 70 RBIs, I would take that at third base in a heartbeat. Like that's a solid player. So we'll see how it goes. I think he has the talent to succeed. The fastball point's definitely a good point you bring up, and like the average being 94, that's like almost the slowest fastball in baseball. Unless you're a really old pitcher and you throw like 92, everybody throws almost 94, 95. So he's going to be facing 96, 97, 98. Like that's the median, the minimum. So we'll see how it goes. I think it'll probably take time for him to acclimate, for him to get used to hitting it in the big leagues. It's a tall task, and this is a guy that's been playing in Japanese professional baseball since 2018. So he's not some rookie, but he's used to playing one style of baseball, used to facing one talent level of baseball. But we've seen this work out with other guys, in a totally different direction. Look at the World Series MVP. So we'll see how it goes.
It's it's possible. I gotta be like the strikeout numbers scare me a little bit. He struck out in from 2024 to 2019. He played 4 of those seasons where he had more than 450 at bats. And he struck out way above 120 times in most of them. So I mean, strikeout numbers scare me, but I mean, I'm gonna give you a player comparison that I think he could be like. All right, a third baseman that I think he could be like.
Okay.
Right? Tell me if I'm crazy. A third baseman that strikes out a lot, that there's a really good potential that you'll see him at first base. Jake Berger. What do you think
Jake
about that?
Burger.
Jake
Okay.
Berger. He's there for power. He's not, I don't think he's gonna get you a single every once in a while. Like if you need him to come in clutch with a big single, probably not gonna do it. But, you know, a sac fly, a homer, maybe a double, I think that's doable. I would like to see that. Another Jake Berger in the league, and Jake Berger was a White Sox, so there you go.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be kind of a letdown if he's Jake Berger. No offense to Jake Berger, I mean, hey, there's a use. Like I said, third baseman. There's not a ton of great third basemen in the league. There's a use for guys that are solid third basemen that'll get you some homers, that'll get you some RBIs, and won't do much more than that. But like they'll be solid hitters in your lineup. Like there is a use for that. So we'll see. I mean, I think that would be a pretty big disappointment for him, considering he's been like one of the best players in Japanese baseball for the past few years. But you don't know what you're gonna get. This is a whole nother level of talent he's facing. So, best of luck to him. He's still a young guy, only 26 years old. So we'll see how it goes.
Anthony, we're really gonna have a conversation after the our talk today, about your slander of Jake Berger, but besides that,
I'm not a big Jake Berger guy. I'm sorry.
my goodness, my goodness. One time, totally legally, I was 21. I went to a Mets game a couple of years ago, and,
Hmm.
I put a bet on I think it was White Sox, it was White Sox, Mets, and I put a bet that, uh, Daniel Vogelback would get a hit and Jake Berger.
Oh, that's a crew right there. Daniel Vogelbach and Jake Berger. Oh my goodness.
It did not hit. It did not hit. Um, I think Daniel Vogelback and Jake Berger combined for 6 strikeouts and
Yeah.
1 pop fly.
Jake Berger 2025 on base percentage 269. That'll get you a Hall of Fame right there.
That's Danny Burgers for you. All right.
Yeah.
We got a couple more moves to talk about. One more move that let me just ask your thoughts on this one, and then I want to hear your Jeff McNeil talk. Uh, Wilson Contreras, Boston
Wilson
Red Sox.
Contreras. Yeah.
What do you think?
Interesting move. Wilson Contreras is an underrated player. Now, I wasn't. There was some talk of, will the Mets make a trade for him for first base? I'll tell you this: I would have preferred Ryan O'Hearn than Wilson Contreras. I think Ryan O'Hearn's more of a proven first baseman. However, Contreras does give you more with the bat, so that's kind of the yin and yang. But I would be worried about him performing defensively at first base. He hasn't been bad, but whenever you're having an older catcher transition from catcher to first base, you worry how that's going to move on, as he's doing it for a few years. What is he going to be defensively as a first baseman 2 years from now? Is he only going to be a DH? These are questions that the Red Sox are going to have to answer. I think he'll be fine for the 2026 season at first base. He's serviceable. He's not a problem at first base whatsoever. He's fine. But is it going to become a problem maybe in the second half of 2026 when he's played every day at first base? Is it going to become a problem in 2027 when he's a year older? Like, these are questions that are going to have to be answered eventually. He has a lot of innings catching. Like, that does a number on your knees. It does a number on everything. Like, catchers get hurt a lot for a reason. And I'd be worried about that. But outside of that, like, he's a very solid hitter still. He's a good addition to that Red Sox lineup. I think you're seeing so much movement from the AL East in particular. Like, we've seen almost all the moves we've seen this offseason have come from the AL East. Like, if you combine it all, like, they've made up for a solid percentage of the moves made throughout the whole offseason. And I think that's for a reason. Like, the Blue Jays set a mark. The Yankees have shown that they're a very competitive team and have all the power to move deep in the playoffs. And I think that these AL East teams are trying to keep up. And I think the Red Sox, they're gonna have to do a lot more than just this, but this might be a sign of things to come for them. I think that they were disappointed with how last year went. I think they're a lot better than how they performed last year. Um, and we'll see. I think this is a solid step in the right direction. First base was a big hole for them, and as of right now, Contreras is filling that hole. But like I said, just like, it could turn into a problem very quickly. All of a sudden, he's hurt, can't play first base, can't get on the field, only could be a DH, and he might be a guy that wants to become a DH only eventually because that'll help his hitting. So we'll see. I don't think it'll be a problem in the short term. I think it will be a problem in the long term, though.
Interesting, interesting. Um, I'm gonna give you 2 thoughts right now. I just wanna know your opinion on them because I think he is serviceable. Um, Long term, he's not gonna be their first baseman. I mean, he's here to clearly hold something. 1, I mean, does this career I like, the now you see the trajectory of every catcher, and I feel like audiences of baseball and our show know, like, okay, well, I mean, JT's not gonna be behind the plate forever. He's probably gonna go to first base soon. Francisco Cervelli, I remember went to first base when he was on the Pirates too. A lot of names. You could keep going through a bunch of names. Doesn't this career, all of these careers combined, make Yadier Molina's career look so amazing? I mean, he stayed behind the dish his entire career. He clearly never DH'd because he did not have the bat. But I mean, my goodness, you'd have to look up the numbers to how many times he played first base because I bet there's a couple. But I mean, the backstop of probably the century. I mean, I don't think you can really say there's a better defensive catcher than him. JT's
No,
not even close, and he's the best in the league right now. He's the best, at times in the league.
Yadier Molina for a solid 20 years, 20 plus years even, like, was a great defensive catcher. Even at the end of his career, like, he fell off at the end of his career, wasn't as good. He was still very solid at throwing runners out, at blocking the ball, and he was almost 40 years old. So, like, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think it's anytime you see a catcher last as long as even over 10, 15 years behind the dish, it's a testament to that catcher because it's such a rough position. And Contreras has shown, like, Contreras was a very good catcher, one of the best catchers in the league for a while. But at a certain point, he became a liability defensively and he had to move. And that's just because of the wear and tear you get over the years. And yeah, 100%. Yadier Molina might go down as the best catcher of the 21st century, and we're 26 years into it. So
It's impressive. It's impressive. It's impressive stuff. But my second thought for you, Anthony, Wilson Contreras is now your first baseman. He's not going to be your catcher. And your DH spot is kind of a question mark. So here's my thing. All right. Now that you have Yoshida, who's not really good with the glove, but he can hit. He can really hit. You have an injury prone first baseman now that you're probably going to start in AAA. Is Tristan Casas the what really looked like he was going to be like I was such a big Tristan Casas fan, but these last 2 years, I mean, he played 29 games last year, uh, and then got injured. He played 63 games the year before and then got injured. Played 132 games in 2023 and had a pretty good season, 21 doubles, 24 homers, in 132 games, 263, 367, 490 slash line. Is this them kinda laying to rest Tristan Casas?
I would think so. I mean, unless
Right.
Tristan Casas shows anything. I mean, first of all, he's not going to get a lot of playing time. So it's going to be tough for him. But
Mm.
unless he shows anything when he does get some playing time, if Contreras is sitting there or whatever, like he's shown nothing largely over the past 2 seasons. And he's really not shown much throughout his whole career. I mean, he's had a solid year or two here and there, but he's never lived up to the hype. And when I mentioned that the Red Sox had a big hole at first base, that's what I was referring to. I mean, it was hard to even remember really last year if you didn't watch a lot of Red Sox games who was playing first base for them because they didn't make any impact. Like at no point at any even in the postseason did the first base position make any impact for the Red Sox. And that's a tough thing. Like infield defense, even though I mean, obviously, first base isn't the most important position on the diamond, but it is a very important position on the diamond. Tristan Casas left a lot to be desired there. He really didn't do anything offensively or defensively to help. And I think that pretty much no matter what Contreras does, as long as he stays healthy and performs to the level that he was with St. Louis, if he's half of what he was in St. Louis, it's an upgrade over Tristan Casas. So we'll see. I don't see this being any sort of move where he could redeem himself though. I think it's been too many years at this point. Maybe if another team takes a flyer on him, but again, like you're not gonna get anything for him. So I don't see his future being with the Red Sox. Maybe with another team, he's got to work his way back up. He has talent. I mean, there's a reason that he was hyped up. He's not some guy that just has been horrible forever, but he's never figured out with the bat. He's not good enough defensively to make up for that bat. So, yeah, I think that this Contreras move, at least for the short term, is not good news for him.
I feel bad because he was such a I really did like him, but, I mean, he's 26 now. This team is starting to work into that win now area. I mean, Roman Anthony's gonna come back. He's gonna be 22 by the time the year starts, right? Um, Marcelo Mayer, um, is playing third base, and he looks like the guy that's like, "Alright, we have to know if he's good enough for this team," and Last year, Cedar Rafaela looked really good. I liked watching him, and Julio Abreu looked fun. I don't know.
A lot of young talent. That's the other thing is if like sometimes first baseman will try to move positions and like where is he going to move even if he does move somewhere? Like
Yeah.
you're not going to jeopardize another kid's future because of Tristan Casas, needs to try to figure out his career. You're going to prioritize your top prospects, which to the credit of the Red Sox, they have a lot of them and they have a lot of them that have already made an impact at the major league level. Like there's no room for error really in this AL East. Like if you let Casas make a start at third base, let's just say, like, why would you do that? There's really no point. If you lose a couple games because of that and you lose the division by 2 games, your fans are going to be on you as they should. And I don't think I mean, I'd be shocked if that happens, but that's really what he would need to happen to revive his career. He needs a shot somewhere. And I don't know, like, he hasn't earned it. Like, that's the point. Like, you have to earn positions in baseball. There's times where teams give spots to guys that don't necessarily earn it. I felt the Mets have been the perpetrators of that many times, and that's a whole nother discussion. But it's not a practice you want to go by. And when you have as much talent as the Red Sox do, you can't be giving chances to guys that have been given so many different chances and don't produce. It's part of the reason that they didn't make it past the Yankees last year. Like, it's not the main reason, but like every time the guy came up, he was almost an automatic out. And you can't be giving automatic outs to teams as good as the Red Sox, teams as good as the Blue Jays during the regular season. Like, you cannot be doing that. And I think the Red Sox have too much talent to be letting that go to waste. So if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm excited about this move. I don't think it's the greatest move of all time. I would have rather Pete Alonso. I know they were in on him and never really worked out. But Contreras is still a very formidable hitter and a veteran who's reliable. And at least for the short term, should be okay at first base.
Yeah. I think it should be a good spot for him right now. All right, Anthony. We've held you back enough. Jeff McNeil, which I mean, last time we talked about it, I said, "What do you think the Mets' next move is?" And you said trading Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is now Gonzo. What do you think? A's.
Yeah. I mean, here's my thing with Jeff McNeil. Like, I'm very disappointed with him career wise. Like, he had the potential to be a Mets legend. Like, he really did. Like, after 2022, where he won the batting title, he had already put together a solid 3 or 4 seasons of being a really solid Met before that, and that was by far his best season of his career. Everybody kind of thought, like, okay, this is going to be a guy we're going to be relying on to hit around 300. Like, even if he doesn't reach the mark that he did in 22, because it's so hard to hit 300 in baseball these days, maybe he'll hover around 280, 290, and he'll be a high on base guy for us. All of a sudden, then, with the addition of Eric Chavez as the hitting coach, and I want to blame him like specifically because Jeff McNeil's in control of the way he operates too. He's a grown man, so like I'm not going to just blame Eric Chavez like some people do, but it is part of it that the Mets did shift more to like a launch angle of we're trying to hit home runs and we're trying to get the ball in the air, and that works for certain guys. It works for Pete Alonso. It works to a certain extent with even Brandon Nimmo, where I wouldn't want him to be a home run hitter, but he was more of a home run hitter than Jeff McNeil ever was. It worked with Lindor. Obviously, it works with Juan Soto. That needs no explanation. But Jeff McNeil was never a home run hitter. He never is going to be a home run hitter. And like this approach angered me, like I said, with Brandon Nimmo, but Brandon Nimmo was capable of hitting 25 home runs. Jeff McNeil was not. And when you shifted to that approach, he turned into a guy that all of a sudden his batting average was going down to 240, 250. And yeah, he was getting 12, 13, 14 home runs, but like, I don't really care about that. I'd rather have him hit 8 home runs and hit 290. And he shifted away from that. So what did you see in 23, 24, 25? You saw a player steadily declining. And you saw a guy that never truly lived up to what he was in 2022. That said, he was a very versatile defender. He played almost every position on the diamond. I give him credit for that. He was, anytime we had a hole in the outfield, he filled in. He was a very solid center fielder for a guy that never played center field. Like, he was serviceable. And that deserves credit because it's a very hard thing to do. We've just talked about a number of players that, we talked about Contreras moving from catcher to first base. It's a big leap for that guy. Jeff McNeil played all around the diamond, and he played it at a good level. So I give him credit for that. But the reason they only got a 17-year-old in return, and maybe that kid will turn into something, we don't know. But the reason they only got that is because he doesn't have much value. Like, he's proved nothing with the bat in the past few years. He's been a locker room problem, according to reports. He's never gotten along with Lindor, and they had the fight a few years ago where they were supposedly arguing over a rat or a raccoon. That was a really good moment in Mets history. But he's been apparently a locker room problem. Has never lived up to the hype with the bat, and he's been largely a defensive replacement in the late innings or a defensive shift, move to a different position in late innings, and that's been Jeff McNeil. So it cannot shock me that we didn't get it. I mean, I'd love to get more for him, a little bit more, but really, what negotiating power did the Mets have? They had to burn his contract too. He's making way too much money for a guy that was hitting 240 and getting like 70 RBIs a year. So it stinks. I'll remember him. He was a good Met. He's not a bad Met. A lot of people not like to knock him. He was not a bad Met. Anytime you win a batting title with the team, you're not a bad player for that team. It was a lot of unleft potential. And I wish him nothing but the best with the Athletics. Maybe he'll go back to his style of line drive hitting and he'll hit better again. But I honestly will never see him, I don't think, hit 300 again. I don't think you'll ever see him get another batting title. And that's what his power was. He was a on base guy, he was a hitting guy. And yeah, it stinks, but it is what it is. And I think the Mets really have to pivot now, especially when it comes to their outfield defense. Like, there's not a whole lot of outfield depth there. We don't even have a left fielder right now. So that's like, forget depth. Like, let's focus on starters. So giving him away does take a shot at your outfield depth and your outfield defense too. He was a solid outfield defender. So the Mets have a lot they need to figure out. Like I said at the top of our broadcast, I wish they were being a little bit more quick with their moves. I wish that was true for baseball as a whole. It makes for a lot easier for our shows and a lot more livelier discussions. But it's also just entertaining to see these moves be made. And the Mets have been very, very slow in their process of signing guys and making trades and all that. And, we'll see how it goes. But the way it is right now, yes, I'm happy he's gone, but it also leaves holes for the Mets, and we'll see how they. I mean, if they sign Austin Hayes, I mean, I instead of Cody Bellinger, I'm not going to be a happy camper. It's going to be interesting. There were some people even saying like, well, is Jeff McNeil our starting left fielder now? And I like I said on the last time we talked, like I never bought into that. I knew he was going to get traded. He was, though, for that like 2 week period of time, the guy you penciled in on the left field mark when like you make your fake lineups. As of right now, there is nothing there. So I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see.
Okay, okay, I understand. I'm gonna give the athletic side of the argument here.
Okay.
Um, for the Athletics, I like the trade. I like the trade. You didn't give up too much. You didn't really give up anything. You gave up a 19, 18-year-old, I'm pretty sure. Which I mean, oh well, that blows. But he's not going to be looked at it this way. What I do like though is now you have a lineup of Nicholas Kurtz, Shea Landeliers, Tyler Soderstrom, who they just signed to a big contract extension for 7 years. Interesting player to do it too, but I like it. Brent Rooker is going to be your four hitter. Jeff McNeil can hit right behind him. I mean, Jacob Wilson behind that, if he stays healthy all year, I loved watching him last year. I mean, I think he was the first rookie starting shortstop in an all-star game.
Wow.
I
Okay.
mean,
Didn't know that.
and on top of that, I mean, what? The starters are decided by fan
The
vote,
fans.
right?
Yeah, fans
Yeah.
vote.
I mean, usually fan votes go into like Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr., and Bobby Witt didn't win this year. Bobby Witt didn't win because there was a rookie that fans got to know from Sacramento. I mean, like, why are fans paying attention to this? Lawrence Butler, Max Muncy, the younger version, and then Denzel Clark, who made some nice catches in the outfield this year. Uh, what I like to say though is, I mean, this team, if everything works out, and they really do need everything to work out. I mean, you need Kurtz to be what Kurtz was in his rookie of the year winning season. You need Jacob Wilson to look like what he did in the first half of last year. And you need Brent Rooker to still hit like Brent Rooker. Besides that, I don't really think you need a 300 hitting Jeff McNeil. You might not even need a 280 hitting Jeff McNeil. You just need somebody to lead them through. Now, I heard the reports about, the arguments in the locker room and this and that. Does that suck? Yes. But on top of that, I mean, I heard a lot of people say it was politics that got in between them. And they were like, this has never happened before. Well, guys, it did last year. I mean, like, people were saying that Soto was going to leave the Yankees because Judge came in with a political hat and Volpe had a political hat on. I mean, listen, you're clearly not going to want to be in a place where people aren't thinking like you, I guess. I guess some people are like that. But, I mean, politics should never get in the way. And it's sad, and not to get into a political conversation. It's sad that politics are deciding whether your team is going to be good because now we need to trade you because
That would
Lindor's
be
on one side.
it would be the Mets that this happens to. Like, yeah, it would be the Mets. No, I did see the report that you saw, and it was from Mike Francesa, who we all know Mike Francesa,
Yes.
legendary Mike and the Mad Dog. I think he kind of meant it more towards Lindor and Nimmo, saying that Nimmo supported one candidate and Lindor the other, and that they
Yes.
butted heads over that. I don't know if the McNeil thing. I mean, maybe I don't. For all I know, it has something to do. I have no idea. I think it was more so. Even if it did, I think it was more so though just a clashing of two different personalities. Like I think that Lindor and McNeil are two different types of people, and neither one is wrong. I think they're different people, and I think they. I don't think it was as big of a deal as people made it out to be though. I think it was 4 years ago in 2021 when they literally fought each other. But over the last year or two, like yeah, they didn't like each other clearly. Like when they were in the infield together, there was a lot of times where there's mix-ups when they'll play and like they you could see them looking at each other like, oh, like this guy, I don't like this guy. I don't think it was the main reason he left though. I think it was part of it. I also take a lot of what Mike Francesa says with a little bit of a grain of salt because he does like to kind of embellish things at times to get some views, get some clicks, as everybody does. Um, I'm not saying that's wrong. Maybe he's right. I just find it very hard to believe that, like, when David Stearns is making these decisions, he's like, "Oh boy, like we have to keep in mind these guys don't get along. They have different political beliefs. Like, got to get them out of here." Like, maybe that was a small part of it, but the biggest part of, like, let's put it this way: if Jeff McNeil was hitting 300 the past couple of years, they would not care what Jeff McNeil's political beliefs are or what they're arguing about. He'd be on the team because he's producing. So, like, that wouldn't be a discussion. The main reason is because the guy was underperforming. So, yeah, like I think a lot of it also leads to the offseason that the Mets have had, giving away, not even giving away, but just guys leaving a free agency, so many big names, and everybody ragging on the Mets. Oh, it's back to the same old Mets and everything. People are fishing for these stories of like LOL Mets, same old Mets. And I think at a certain point, like maybe there's elements of truth to them, but I think it gets ridiculous at a certain point. Like at a certain point, it becomes like tabloid journalism where it's like, every little thing is the biggest catastrophe in the world, and the Mets, you should laugh at the Mets. Like, at what point are we just going to make it like, okay, this is about baseball. These are baseball moves. What can they do to improve the baseball team? Like, I think that's that. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
I like that. I like that. Um, my last thing to say about the Athletics is I I hope you're extending Tyler Soderstrom, which I mean, he's taking this deal. They move into Las Vegas in 2028, 2029.
Yeah, it's coming up soon.
So they got 2 more seasons and potentially 1 if a strike really hits. Which would be awful. But hopefully that gets fixed. Um, I don't think they're gonna do it this year. I really don't think they're gonna do it. This team wants to lose. I mean, like, if you've ever watched basketball before, which I'm sorry. I've been watching since we got home, I've been watching the NBA a little bit when it's not a Thursday, Monday, or Sunday, and there's no football on.
Hmm.
My God, is it boring? I mean,
Really? Okay.
it's so boring to watch because I think, and here's what I'm going to say. Uh, is it hypocritical of me to say that, oh my gosh, baseball's such an exciting sport, and then basketball, which is like a very fast paced, quick sport, is boring? Yes, I'm a hypocrite. I'll take that as it is. But basketball, oh my goodness, just it's a 12-minute game. If you turn it on in the fourth quarter, you're watching as good of a game as you turn it on as in the first quarter. I mean, the fourth quarter is the only quarter that matters. That's it. That's it. You get 12 minutes, then you can make it. I would watch 12 minutes of every basketball game, but only the fourth quarter. So boring. So boring. Anyways, back to my point. They are not going to make any moves on this team. I don't even know how I got to basketball. They're not going to make any moves on this team. They are going to tank. Oh, because they're going to tank. Like, I mean, uh, they're going to look like the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets do not want to win. If the Brooklyn Nets win, it is the same amount as like the Jets winning. Like fans are going to start to get angry because they're not getting the first round pick. I don't think the A's are losing for that exact reason, but I think they're just losing. So like, all right, when we get to Las Vegas, now we'll have something good to look at. Sure.
Right.
Whatever.
I think that's we've said that before. Like they're slowly building to spend more because they're going to be in a new location and they want people in seats. And but
Exactly.
the way that the baseball, and I will give credit to baseball in this regard, they did kind of stop the tanking problem with the lottery. And
Mhm.
I don't think that's necessarily the perfect way for a draft to go. You could maybe tweak it a little bit, but the NFL, especially, like, the Giants Raiders game that happened last week was just a joke. Like, it was a horrible game, and both teams wanted their teams to lose. At least the fans did, and it makes for a horrible product. And it's been a bad thing for the NFL for as long as the NFL's existed. And when you have a draft lottery, it kind of eliminates that problem somewhat. Now, obviously, like, bad teams are not going to be winning a lot, but I don't think it's because they're tanking for the draft. I think it's just because they're not spending a lot of money, and you have such a disparity in the teams that do spend and the teams that do make moves versus the teams that don't. So I think it's two different. Like, in the NFL, you have teams like the Jets, the Raiders, that aren't winning because it benefits them in the short term to get players that'll benefit them quickly, and they'll have better picks if they lose. That's the reason they lose. In Major League Baseball, like, yes, your odds increase. Like, obviously, the Athletics, the Pirates, the Rockies' odds of getting the number one pick are highly, increased because they're bad, but they aren't guaranteed to get a top five pick. They aren't guaranteed, like, at a certain point they could fall down. The number could fall down because it goes by odds. They go whatever they do, they ping pong balls out of the
Yeah,
thing, and whatever,
exactly.
however they decide it. But it's not the same process as the NFL. And I'll give baseball credit in that regard, at least, because tanking sports is like the worst thing to watch. Even when you're watching your own team, like, nobody wants to root for their own team to lose. I know this better than anybody. I've rooted for the Jets to lose my whole life, essentially, and I'm a Jets fan, and it's horrible. Like, it doesn't make for a good product, and it certainly hasn't solved the problem in baseball of horrible teams. But I think it's solved the problem, and also, like, in baseball, it takes forever for a prospect to come up. Usually, it takes like at least 2 or 3 years. Where in
Exactly.
football, it's immediately, so it's different. But I'll give baseball a point in that regard, in terms of in competition with the NFL, which doesn't happen very often. So we have to be proud of baseball in that regard.
I like the analysis. My last thought is they're not gonna they're like their hitting looks really fun. I would honestly be excited to watch this team hit. I am not gonna be excited to watch them um pitch, because that's gonna be their problem. They're playing in like a minor league ballpark. Gonna be awful, and 2 more years of it. So get through it. Hopefully the A's will be a watchable team. I still wish they never took away they never left Oakland. That's kind
Yeah.
of how the baseball works. Um, who knows? Expansion's coming. I mean, sooner or later, uh, what's his name? The president of baseball. Why am I blanking?
Oh, the commissioner,
Rob
Manfred.
Manfred.
Yeah.
Manfred. Uh, I mean, Manfred wants to expand the team. He's just looking for places to expand them. I would not be mad if, there's a new Oakland team and there's a Montreal team. That would be fun. I mean,
Montreal,
Montreal.
maybe, especially with the success of the Blue Jays last season. I think that
Yeah,
they
come
brought in a lot of
on.
revenue.
Come on.
I'd be surprised if Oakland got a team, though.
Yeah, they're
Very
not. I
surprised.
mean, it's way too early. It's like making a Titanic joke as the boat's sinking. Like,
Yeah.
it's bad. Why would you like that? That's bad. Um, I don't know. Tennessee, though. Tennessee, think about it. Rob Manfred, here's a little note to you. Really think about Tennessee or Nashville, because baseball is such a country sport and Nashville does not have a baseball team. And that could be really fun. Really fun.
And
Really fun.
college baseball is big down there in the South. I mean, they love
Exactly.
their college baseball. Why can't they love Major League Baseball?
Where's Vanderbilt? What state is Vanderbilt in?
Oh man, my geography is not
Oh
very
my
great,
God.
Vincent. I need to
I'm,
look it up.
this is
Let me
bad.
see. I
Vanderbilt.
wasn't Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Go to Tennessee. Then you could have Vanderbilt there every once in a while. I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Uh, that'd be cool. Um, all right, Anthony, let's see. Last moves that we'll talk about. Just get your quick little takes on it. Um, Peter Fairbanks. Let me see this. We're gonna play a little game to end off our show today.
Okay.
Uh, 3 words. All right. We're gonna be playing 3 words. Are smaller moves that don't need that much love. And I'm gonna throw Soderstrom in the mix there because I just talked about him for a little while. Uh,
3-word reactions to
three
the news.
word reactions.
All
Okay.
right. You know I like to go on my rants, so you're handcuffing me here.
I know. We both like to go on our rants, which I mean
Sure.
is putting us both in a hard spot. All right, here we go. Miami Marlins on December 24th, Christmas Eve. They give their fans a little bit of a little present, a little stocking stuffer with this one. They sign Peter Fairbanks and to a 1-year contract. 3-word reaction.
Very solid move.
Hey, there we go. There we go. Very solid move. I like that one. On Christmas, the Oakland Athletics said, you want to know what? Soderstrom is going to be getting a 7-year, $86 million contract. 3-word reaction.
Spend that money.
And that money.
Spend that money.
Look at that. Hey, the money's going somewhere, and that's good to see. Our next move, this one, I'm interested to know your 3-word reaction. The Cubs sign Hunter Harvey to a 1-year contract.
Who cares?
Hey, that was a good one. That was great.
What can I say?
What day is it now? It is the 31st, New Year's Eve. Baltimore Orioles 3 days ago sign Zach Eflin to a 1-year contract. They're bringing him back. 3-word reaction?
Extremely underwhelming. 2-word reaction. Extremely underwhelming. I can't think of a 3rd word there. And yeah.
There we go.
Well, what is there to say about Zach Eflin? You know, I mean, average pitcher at best.
Probably. Hey, he was good for the Phillies for a couple of years. He pitched for 2023 for us. All right. Los Angeles Dodgers. Angels. The Angels make a move and are making waves over the Dodgers. They go out and they sign the former reliever for the Dodgers, Kirby Yates, to a 1-year deal yesterday. What do you think about this?
Mediocre. I'm struggling to think of a 3-word thing. Very mediocre. I mean,
very mediocre.
I'll give a slightly more than 3 words. If it was 5 years ago, I'd be a lot more excited than that. He's okay now. But he's old.
All right, deal for the time. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Well, Anthony, this ends our show. And we'll be back next week. I will see you and our audience in 2026. We're very close to being back to the great Montclair State campus to keep our show alive. But until
one last semester.
We got to start picking times and picking places very soon. But for our audience, we want to thank you. We'll see you again next week. More baseball news to come. Hopefully, Kyle Tucker is off the market so we can have a whole hour episode just talking about one singular person, just like Juan Soto. All right. Thank you and good night, everyone.